Greetings, loved ones. In our last episode, we discussed the first 5 life-changing truths abuse survivors should embrace. Today, we're going to discuss the remaining 5 truths. Help us get these messages out. Subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button and the notification bell. And also, please share these messages with others, because you never know. Just by doing so, you could save a life. You don't have to justify to anyone the reasons you didn't leave right away. The journey to healing from emotional or physical abuse requires us to revolutionize our thinking about relationships, self-love, self-respect, and self-compassion. Abusive relationships often serve as the catalyst for incredible change and have the potential to move us towards empowerment and strength, should we take the advantage of our new agency. Here are the remaining 5 life-changing truths abuse survivors should embrace in their journey to healing, though it may appear challenging to do so. Number 6 is forgiveness of the abuser is a personal choice, not a necessity. Now, I'm going to share this information, then I'm going to give you my opinion on this too. Some may tell you that you must forgive the abuser to move on. Truly, that is a personal choice and not a necessity. You might feel forgiveness of the abuser is necessary to move on, but that does not mean that you have to, at least not immediately. Survivors may have also experienced physical and sexual abuse in addition to psychological manipulation. You may have gone through so much trauma that it feels impossible to forgive, and that's okay. In fact, according to Beverly Engel, pressuring yourself to forgive too soon can be detrimental to your recovery. It's not our job to cater to the abuser's needs or wants. It's not our duty to reconcile with or forgive someone who has deliberately and maliciously harmed us. Our duty lies in taking care of ourselves on the road to healing. Now, before moving on to number 7, I want to make a comment here. As a Christian, I understand that we do need to forgive those who have harmed us. Forgiving a person doesn't necessarily mean you are excusing them for what they have done. And this is not something that you can do early in your journey to healing. But in reality, if we hold unforgiveness towards others, it's like a cancer in our own heart. And it can cause us to become bitter, and other negative things happen in our life. Forgiving somebody who has harmed us is more of a step for our own heart than for them, because they really don't care if you forgive them or not. It's something you do for yourself. And I pray that eventually you get to the point where you can forgive the person who has harmed you, so that you can have your heart free from bitterness and anger and resentment, and you can grow on to a more complete healing. So that being said, let's move on to number 7. Forgiveness toward yourself is a necessary move or step forward. Self-forgiveness, this is a different matter. Many survivors struggle with self-blame after the ending of an abusive relationship. And even though you don't have anything to forgive yourself for, the abuse was the abuser's fault, not yours. Survivors may judge themselves for not leaving sooner, or for looking out for their best interests during the relationship. There's a great deal of shame that goes on in this. So it is encouraged to show compassion towards yourself and to be gentle with yourself during times of negative self-talk and self-judgment. These are all things survivors tend to struggle with in the aftermath of an abusive relationship, and it can take a while to get to this point. Remember, you didn't know what you know now about the abuser, and you didn't know that the abuser would never change. Even if you had, you were in a situation where many psychological factors made it difficult to leave. So number 8 truth you should know is you are not the crazy one. During the abusive relationship, you were gaslighted into thinking that your perception of reality was false, and you were told that you were the pathological one, that your version of events was untrue, that your feelings were invalid, that you were too sensitive when you reacted to their mistreatment of you, You may have even endured a vicious smear campaign in which the charming abuser told the whole world that you were the one that was crazy and losing it. Losing it meant that you were tired of being kicked around, tired of being cursed at and debased. Losing it meant that you were finally starting to stand up for yourself. The abuser saw that you were recognizing the abuse and wanted to keep you in your place by treating you to cold silence, harsh words, and condescending rumor mongering. It's time to get back to reality. You were not the unstable one. The unstable one was the person who was constantly belittling you, controlling your every move, subjecting you to angry outbursts, and using you as an emotional and even physical punching bag. So, who are you? You were the person who wanted a good relationship, the one who strove to please your abuser, even at the cost of your mental and physical health. You were the one whose boundaries were broken, whose values were ridiculed, whose strengths were made to look like weaknesses. You attempted to teach a grown person how to behave with respect, often fruitlessly. You were the one who deserved to be treated so much better. And number 9 is, you do deserve better. No matter what the abuser told you about yourself, there are people out there in healthy relationships. These people are cherished, respected, and appreciated on a consistent basis. There is trust in the relationship, not the toxic manufacturing of love triangles. There are genuine apologies for mistakes, not provocation for attention or quick reconciliation. Consider this. Aside from the experience of trauma, these people in healthier relationships are not drastically different from you. In many ways, they're just like you, flawed, imperfect, but worthy of love and respect. There are billions of people in this world, and yes, you can bet there are plenty out there who will treat you better than the way you've been treated before. There are people out there who will see your wonderful strengths and talents and who will actually love your quirks. These people, they wouldn't dream of intentionally hurting you or provoking you. And you will find these people in friendships and in future relationships. And perhaps you already have. Number 10 truth you should believe is that it may have seemed this relationship was like a waste of time. But in changing your perspective, it can also be an incredible learning experience. You now have the agency to create stronger boundaries and learn more about your values because of this experience. As a survivor, you've seen the dark side of humanity and what some people are capable of. You've recognized the value of using your time wisely after you've exhausted it with someone unworthy. And with this newfound knowledge, you are no longer naive to the fact that there are emotional predators out there. And most importantly, you can share your story to help and empower other survivors. I know I did, and you can too. With 1 in 3 women experiencing domestic violence worldwide and even more children witnessing violence, the question is not if you'll encounter someone who is suffering violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you do encounter them? You could be the person who saves a life. You are called. We are all called to be champions for justice. Those who suffer violence need to know that those who love them and those who don't even know them will step out and reach out to them to give them the help and the courage they need to leave before it's too late. Help us get these messages out. Subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and please share these messages with others. You never know. Just by doing so, you could save a life. And if you're a victim of violence, please listen to me. You are valued, you're loved, you're intelligent, and you are beautiful. God does not want you to suffer violence. He wants you to live free from violence in peace and tranquility. You're not alone. There is a way out, and it is not your fault. Abuse is not love. If you are a victim of violence, please reach out to somebody today. And if you find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911 for help. And if you know of a child who is suffering violence, tell the authorities. In our next episode, we're going to talk about how to empower survivors. Until then, God bless you.